Yes, guys, welcome to the Gameweek 30 live stream. Hope you are doing well. It has been a long old time since I have done a live stream. I think about 2 weeks now because of that international break. And I've had a lot going on. I had my stag do, got norovirus, only just recovering now. But I thought it would be a perfect opportunity for me to jump on this wonderful Friday evening to answer all of your questions and also go through some final team thoughts for my team, because I haven't actually locked in exactly what I want to do. So it'd be really interesting to get a bit of an idea on what you guys think I should do with my team, as well as me try and help you out with your own personal team. So it's awesome to see some familiar faces already in the chat. Cheekster, Sam, James, Animations, of course, Rio. Hope you guys are doing really well. If you aren't new around here, get yourselves in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from in the world. And of course, if you have any questions, this is the opportunity to get them in the chat. Usually, as I always say, these aren't the crazy busiest streams that you see on other channels. It's a perfect opportunity for you to ask some really deep questions, not about life necessarily, but about your team, and hopefully I can help you out as best as possible. And if I can't help you out, at least some other people in the chat might be able to help you out. So get yourselves in the chat and also drop a like if you haven't already. And if you're not a subscriber, it would be awesome to have you for the back end of this season. Look, we're coming into April. We only have 2 months left of FPL. So yes, there isn't much FPL left to play, but it'll be awesome to have you for the back end of this season. And if I don't provide any value, then I don't mind if you want to unsubscribe from the channel. But it's amazing to have the usual people. So Cheekster, doing well, my friend. Sam's asking questions. A lot of comparisons. I'll do them in a second. James, thoughts on Salah in for De Bruyne? Yes, I do like that move massively because of the long term. Cheekster, hope you're doing well. Yeah, okay, so I think we're going to kick off with the questions, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to come onto my team in a minute, but I think it's a good chance for me to go through any questions that you guys have. Going to be a bit of a shorter one, just because, as I said, I'm recovering from this virus, so I won't be able to go as intense as I usually do. So hopefully I can try and last for at least 30-35 minutes on this live stream. Okay, let's get into it. Sam, good evening, Nacho. Udogie or Porro? My preference is Pedro Porro, but we have seen recently that Udogie is doing the business for Spurs. So I think it's a case of, if you have the funds available, Pedro Porro. But if you are looking to free up some cash, I think the first place I would go is downgrading Pedro Porro to Udogie. Muniz or Isak is a very difficult one to answer. I do think Muniz is going to be a rotation risk at times. Rotation risk is probably the worst word. Minutes risk. Just because of Raul Jimenez, Muniz is going to be starting pretty much every game. But I do see that he could see a situation where he comes off around the 75th, 80th minute to accommodate Raul Jimenez in games. That one's difficult to answer because it completely depends on your budget and what direction you want to take your team. If I had to choose one and money was no object, then I would choose Alexander Isak. I think he's a brilliant differential between now and the end of the season. Raya or Onana? I think I would go for Raya right now. Yes, it isn't great this game week. Basically what I think, Raya between now and game week 34, and then Onana from basically game week 34, 35 until the end of the season. That's probably the route I'd go for, because Arsenal double in 34, Man United double in game week 37, we think. Dalot or Bradley? Again, completely depends on your horizon. If you're looking for the short term, I would prefer Bradley, but remember, when Trent is back, then that's going to be an issue for Bradley. Dalot, long term, we know his game time's pretty locked in, good on the bonus points, good all-round asset, and he will be fantastic from game week 33 onwards. Garnacho or Gordon? Again, it completely depends on your horizon. For the next 4 game weeks, I prefer Gordon. For the long term, I like Garnacho, especially at that price point. Foden or Saka? I think it has to be Saka, just because of the double game week in game week 34. James, you're free hitting in game week 34. If that is the case, it really is a coin flip between the two. I probably would still favour Saka because of penalties, though. James, thoughts on Salah and De Bruyne? Yes, I think that's good. Animations, I haven't been on loads of FPL streams for a while, so glad to be back with you. Yes, it is good to be back finally. Did a -8 this week to set me up. Bowen, Tony and Flecken to Petrovic, Haaland and Salah hit the light, people. Yes, I do like those moves, mate. Long term with Petrovic coming in for those Chelsea doubles later on in the season. I think those are good moves. Andrew, my plans are Foden to Salah, Watkins to Muniz, and bench in Saka. Muniz will be gone for the double game week. However, Andrew, I hope it does pay off for you, my friend. Obviously, getting rid of Watkins with Wolves at home isn't the best time to do so, but if it does accommodate your team long term, benching Saka as well is a little bit of a risk because of his ownership and, of course, his potential in any fixture. Just be a little bit cautious about that one. And Rio saying, hi Nacho, is it worth to go with Richarlison instead of Maddison this game week? I'm on a wild card this week. Well, I feel like the recent news is that Richarlison is going to be a risk for this week. Let me know in the comments if I've missed any recent news about Richarlison. But last thing I saw was that Richarlison is going to be a injury doubt. I'm just checking Twitter right now as we speak to see if there has been any update regarding him. And okay, so Ange stated that, just going to read out what we've seen regarding Richarlison today. He has stated that Van der Ven has trained the last few days and is available for Luton. He also says that Richarlison has a niggle and is trained today and is available too. So that is going to have a slight impact on what we want to do with Son, for example. I wouldn't be necessarily piling into Richarlison with the idea that he's still struggling with a niggle. Mohammed, what the best transfers do you think I should pick? Mohammed, it completely depends on your chip strategy, your money available to you. Maybe give a bit more scope on the positions and the prices that you are looking to accommodate. Cheekster, wildcard or not this week? I think it's going to completely depend on your structure of a team. I personally am looking to wildcard in game week 35 in preparation for a bench boost in game week 37. But if your team is terrible, maybe you maybe you dead-ended for game week 29. Maybe the wildcard is the route for you to go for, but it all depends on your team, my friend. I think I would need to get a bit more context in the comment section. More technique, hope we do well, my friend. Eslam saying, hi Nacho, do you think Saka to Palmer for a -4 is worth it? Not really for a -4. The reason being is, this game week in isolation, I think it could pay itself back, but then the following game week, Saka is at home against Luton. Straight away you're looking at it thinking, I want Saka in that game. And even though Palmer looks good for this week, the following game week he has Man United at home. So we need to make sure we're looking not just at one game week and a few more, because I think straight away you're going to be thinking, I wish I had Saka. Animations on the road to recovery. Had neurovirus, so I've had the classic sickness, but I'm on a bit more of a recovery now, which is good. While we're chatting, I'm just going to pop up my bus team for you guys, just to give you a bit of an idea on where I'm currently sat. One free transfer, 4.1 million in the bank. This is how the team's currently set. Phil Foden on the bench, but that could change. The reason why I've got him in is just because Garnacho I do think has good potential. My one concern is that when Man United do really well, it's against teams that actually dominate possession against them. And I think Brentford are really going to sit back in this game and look to hit them on the counter-attack. Something that Man United want to do on their own opposition. So I don't know whether Garnacho is going to be as hugely influential in this game. So we do need to have a little bit of think about it, whether I actually need to make a transfer. Because if you checked out my video today, one transfer that I'm planning on doing, well, a combination of transfers, is actually selling Saliba to bring in someone like an Aït-Nouri, and then selling Phil Foden for Mo Salah for a -4, and that would then lead me to captain Mo Salah. So a little bit of a deliberation of what to do exactly with my team, and I think it is going to go right up until the deadline tomorrow, just to have a little bit more thought process on exactly what I want to do. I do feel like the team that I have right now could easily roll out and I'll be more than happy with it, but just Mo Salah and the upside of him is something that I really can't get out of my mind right now. ESG saying start one of Bradley, Moreno or Gabriel. I think it has to be Bradley in this situation. We know he's going to play. Well, we expect him to play with the injuries to Robertson and also to Trent Alexander-Arnold. So I think Bradley has the upside against this Brighton team. Lelex, hi mate, hope you're feeling better. Thank you very much. Start Tony or Bowen this week. I'm so torn. Okay, so to remind ourselves, Tony at home against Man United and Bowen is away against Newcastle. I'd probably lean towards Tony personally, just because he's on penalties, and I think Man United defensively is still potential there. Is Godfrey a good option in defence, or you think he will stop getting the minutes? Not one that I would look to invest in. I think Braithwaite is a much better Everton option for your teams. Salt and Pepper, I have Richarlison. Would you transfer out this week for Salah for a -4 or wait until next week? I already have Son, Gordon, Saka and Foden. So yeah, this is a similar situation that you're in. I personally think that you could easily wait till next game week and do it as part of a free transfer strategy, something that I'm currently deliberating right now. For a -4, we need to think about exactly what we want to do with our team. So take mine for example. If I want to get Salah this week, it's going to be at the cost of a -4 and also at the expense of an Arsenal defender. Now, that isn't ideal at all, but it does give me Mo Salah and a differential captain. However, if we were to wait until game week 31, I would have more options of selling certain players. So, for example, I wouldn't have to sell a player like an Arsenal defender who already doubled in game week 34. I could look to maybe sell Ollie Watkins, who has Man City away and doesn't double in game week 34. And straight away, I'm not doing it for a -4, and I'm also bringing in Mo Salah as part of a free transfer strategy. So for that very reason, I do feel like maybe waiting until the next game week is the right move. But I do see the upside of bringing in Mo Salah this game week. And what I don't like is the thought of me benching Phil Foden this game week. That's my only concern that I do have. Tom, greetings from Massachusetts. Awesome to see you tune in. Are you going to have a mini fantasy challenge league or are you going to play? Yes, so I am getting a league. I need to sort this out for you. Give me 2 seconds. I will get that team. I haven't actually built a league and you have reminded me. Let us create a league a minute. We'll call it the FPL Fan Invitational as always. Have I done it already? Have I created a league? I don't know if I've just created a league or not. Create league. FPL Fan. I'm trying to create a league, but it's not letting me. So I will have a look in a minute to see why that is not working. Okay, I've just created a league. And I am going to invite people. This is the link to my challenge. Why can I not do it? Give me a second, guys. There we go. If you guys are playing FPL Challenge, you want to join my league, just put the link in the bio there. My team's a little bit rogue. I can't lie to you. Let me just get it up. This is how my team is looking. I do not think you can see that. Let me get it up for you. Now, I can't lie. With the FPL Challenge, I am taking it with a pinch of salt. Now, there are like hacks to do it. You can do different hacks where you do the captaincy, you have the bench. I ain't got time for it. I can't lie. I don't have time for it, unfortunately. So I'm just going to pick an 11 and I'm just going to stick with it. And I'm just going to let this be a bit of fun, this game. So this is what I've gone for right now. Petrovic, Gusto, Pedro Porro, Virgil van Dijk. Salah with the captaincy, Son, Palmer and Maddison. With Darwin, Nicholas Jackson and Isak up top. Let me know your thoughts. And of course, join the league if you haven't already. Like I said, you can do different hacks. There are ways of doing it where, because of the deadlines in FPL Challenge, where it's actually when your player has played rather than an actual physical deadline, you can actually manipulate your team. I just don't have time for it. I might have time in different weeks, but right now, I just don't have the capacity to fiddle around with a team and worry about it. So I'm just going to go for a fantasy challenge. I'm going to pick an 11. I'm just going to stick with it and hope for the best. But let me know if you guys are playing in the comment section. It'd be awesome to know. Right, let me go back to what I had originally up. Again, guys, if you're not already, please do consider dropping a like on the stream. And, of course, being a subscriber. We're aiming for 12,500 before the end of the season. I think we're about like 50 off. So it'd be awesome if you are not already to be a subscriber. Jonah, hi Nacho, hope you're doing well. I'm wildcarding this week. What do you think is the best chip strategy? Free hit 34, bench boost 37 or bench boost 34, free hit 37. I personally think free hit 37, bench boost 30, free hit 34, bench boost 37 is the best one. But of course, it is completely dependent on what that wildcard team is that you build. Noah, to bring in Salah, I would have to sell either Watkins or Solanke so I can afford Salah. Is it worth it? For this week, you're selling players who have fantastic fixtures. Solanke at home against Everton, Watkins at home against Wolves. So yes, you can definitely do it. But my question to you is, could it wait one more week and you could sell Watkins when he has Man City away and then Arsenal 2 weeks later? Maybe you just hold off one more game week, but I get it. If you want to get ahead of the curve, then it is definitely a great game week to do so. And if I had to sell one of those two, it probably would be Watkins, just because Solanke has better fixtures and he doubles in game week 34. Animations, if I was free hitting in game week 34, will it be viable to dodge Darwin and go Watkins to Isak next week to set up for game week 37? Yes, definitely feasible. Darwin don't necessarily play every single game with Gakpo waiting in the wings, but you know you can have yourself the best team for game week 34, and then Isak is there from 35 onwards. Don't mind that at all. Thomas, on wildcard, can't decide between Solanke, Darwin and Isak, leaning towards Isak and Solanke. What do you think? I'm on a free hit 34. Okay, so if you're on a free hit 34, then of course you can get your Liverpool assets for that double game week. So if we were looking at the fixtures in isolation, let me get the fixtures up for you. What we'll do is we'll do the fixtures between now and the end of the season, but we'll exclude game week 34. Okay, so on your screens here, you can see the fixtures. Hopefully they are clear. Let me know if they're not in the chat, and I'll try and enlarge it. But these are the fixtures between now and game week 38, but I've removed game week 34 to get an idea on which teams are the best. Now, you spoke about Newcastle with Alexander Isak. You can see here, I think you mentioned him. Yeah. Isak has the best fixtures long term, and also we need to remember these aren't with the projections for game week 36, 37, 38. There is an expectation that Newcastle will double in game week 37. So for that very reason, I do think Alexander Isak is probably the route that I would go for. I think he's a brilliant differential. Darwin Núñez is great for the next two, Man United away, Palace. I think Darwin is fantastic as well, it's worth noting. But I think while Isak is in the team, he's going to play every single minute with very little competition in that Newcastle team. So I do think Isak is the one that I'll go for. Lilith, I'm wildcarding in game week 31 and only have my free hit left after that. Should I free hit in 34 or 37? Again, it completely depends on what your wildcard team is, because you could build a wildcard team to look great for 34 or 37. Realistically, I probably, if you're wildcarding in game week 31, would look to maybe free hit in 34 and fill your team with Chelsea, Spurs players that look fantastic for game week 37, knowing that in game week 34 you can free hit all the assets that aren't necessarily great beyond that point. Frederick, in order to get Salah, I need to sell Watkins for Núñez and Foden to Salah. Is it worth it? I'm doing wildcard 34 and 35. Yeah, so you're in a similar boat to myself where Watkins can do fantastic this week. Núñez can also do fantastic against Sheffield United this week, for instance. And Foden to Salah can definitely pay itself off. If it's for a free transfer strategy, then yes, I do like the move. But if you're wildcarding in 34 and 35, then yes, I would do it then this week, because I think you need to get the full maximisation of Salah. Curious saying, do you think Richarlison will start? I'd be very surprised. He's been out injured, and also we're obviously with the situation of him coming back. I don't think they need to rush him back into the team unless Son is in a position where, unless they really need to play him. I think Son as a number 9 is perfectly good. FPL, any chance to rate my wildcard, mate? FPL, put it in the chat and I can definitely try and help you out. Sportcat, I've done De Bruyne to Salah. Good move. Should I do Pedro Neto to Gordon for a -4? That means I don't need to play Doughty. Is Pedro Neto ruled out? Let me know if he's ruled out. I don't actually know on his status. I'm on Solanke, Haaland, Isak, Solanke to Højlund the 33. By all means, no Saka. Gordon. I wouldn't get rid of Solanke to Højlund the 33 because Solanke is going to double in game week 34. If we bring up the 34 fixtures a minute, you can see here Bournemouth double in game week 34. So I don't think I'll be inclined to sell a double game week player ahead of that. Is it worth the extra Porro? Porro versus Joggy is something I'm considering. So my thought process is this. Oh, okay. Pedro Neto ruled out for the season. I didn't see that. Okay, I'll answer the first one. I think Porro is worth it, but if the money that you save for your doggy helps upgrade your squad, then I'll go your doggy. I think there's very little between it. I don't think Pedro Porro is doing anything to think, oh my god, he is the most essential defender in the game. And I think your doggy also has some attacking output. So my thought process is, if money's no object, Pedro Porro is the answer. If you look at your squad and think, oh, that cash could actually be really helpful later down the line, then I would go for your doggy. I've done De Bruyne to Salah, a good move. Okay, so you've covered that off. So Pedro Neto to Gordon, I really do like for a -4, especially if he is ruled out. My only thing to you is, just consider the rest of your squad. Is Gordon a player that you want long term? Based on the fixtures, I do think that he is a very valuable player for the long term with great home games, and he is fantastic in the home games. I think he is a good pick, yes. So I am all for the move. I think I better bring up my team in a minute. So give you guys a bit of an idea on where I'm looking going into this week. So this is the current team. Currently flirting between what to do with Garnacho or Foden. I think I probably would be eventually peer pressured to start Phil Foden. Now, in terms of some potential moves that I could do, just to give you a bit of an idea, I'm just getting up the planner right now. So, as I said, this is my team. So I could easily leave this team, be more than content with it. Captain Son, happy days. Go into game week 31 with 2 free transfers and 4.1 million in the bank, which is a really strong position to be in. Now, the issue is, I'm going to have to bring in Mo Salah with the Sheffield United at home game, as long as he is looking like he will start. So I have the same conundrum where I need to decide on a player to sell. Now, Son is the easy cash cow, but once again, the fixtures coming up are good. I think this is a good fixture away against West Ham, Forest at home, Newcastle away. I think they're good fixtures for Son, so I don't feel compelled to sell him. But when we compare it with the other assets, there's no way I'm selling Bukayo Saka. And then it's a case of Phil Foden. Realistically, Phil Foden with these fixtures is a very difficult sell. Villa at home, Palace away, Luton at home. Very, very difficult. So I think I would be more inclined to sell Son, but I don't love it. The reason why I like game week 31 to bring in Salah is because what I can do is I could do Son to Salah, for example. Don't love it. But what I can do as well is, whereas before, in order to free up the funds, I had to have done a -4, I can just leave my team like this if I want to. Or if I do feel like Darwin Núñez is suddenly the best thing to own, I can make my second transfer, sell Ollie Watkins pretty happily with an away game against Man City, and bring him in as part of a free transfer strategy. All of a sudden, the team looks pretty strong for this week. I probably would go for my double Arsenal defence at home against Luton. And again, if I was to bring in Mo Salah this game week, I wouldn't have that double Arsenal defence. So I would have the double Arsenal defence, which looks great. Got the rest of the team, which is fantastic. Obviously, I will start Phil Foden instead of Garnacho, and be pretty content with that team. Coming into game week 32, double Arsenal defence doesn't look as good. I could start the Zabanye if I wanted to, but obviously I trust the Arsenal defence more than that to the Bournemouth one. And I look at this team and think, I'm more than content with rolling the transfer if I wanted to. In terms of the standout games, yes, I don't have Ollie Watkins at home against Brentford, but do I really want him knowing that he has Arsenal the following game week? Not really. Bournemouth, I already have coverage. Chelsea away against Sheffield United. Maybe it's an opportunity to bring in someone like a Malagusto, but again, defensive transfers aren't really that appealing. So I could even see myself potentially rolling the transfer in game week 32. And when we come into game week 33, this is all about preparing the team for the double in game week 34. Now, again, this is all the assumptions that all of these players are still fit and raring to go. But again, the team on paper looks fantastic. So many home games for players, but it could be the opportunity for me maybe to look and think, yeah, maybe this is the time to bring in a double game week 34 player in preparation, whether that be an Eze, but it isn't a great time to strike on those players. If I bring up the fixtures between, and remember, I'm wildcarding in game week 35. You can see here, between game weeks 33 and 34, Sheffield United are top of the tree. Don't really want that. I already have triple Arsenal. Wolves could look to bring in maybe a Wolves defender or maybe a forward like Cunha if I wanted to. Cunha, sorry. Everton I don't really like. Palace isn't really the entry point in game week 33. Liverpool, I've already got Mo Salah, already have Darwin. Could look to maybe bring in a third one, which would be ideal. Bournemouth already have coverage. Man United, very difficult to bring in with all these doubles. So, realistically, with the plan to wildcard in game week 35, I could put myself in a situation where I need a third Liverpool, and I think maybe bringing in a defensive option is the route to go. So, I could see myself maybe doing Pedro Porro out and bringing in, let's just say, Virgil is the only real option. So bringing in Virgil van Dijk to look like this, which I think the team looks really strong once again. I've even got people like Garnacho on the bench. But I could also look at Solanke at home and think, what kind of player do I want here? And potentially maybe a Mateta at Crystal Palace, or even somebody like as I've spoke before, a Cunha if I wanted to get a Wolves forward. So I'm going to leave that one open. I think Solanke would stick around for that week. Then coming into game week 34, this would be my opportunity then to really get the best possible double game week players. So once again, I want to keep Solanke because he doubles, obviously. I could sell Haaland, but I don't really think I want to in that week. Garnacho looks fantastic for that game week, so he would come in. And I'm looking at it thinking, with 2 free transfers, who do I really want to own? Maybe Phil Foden out. I know it sounds a bit crazy, but Phil Foden out for an Eze. And I will still have 1 free transfer available. I've got triple Liverpool, got triple Arsenal. Yes, I could have triple Arsenal attack, but I'm happy with that. I don't really want to sell Haaland, but I could sell him for someone like a Mateta, but it just doesn't really sound right. And to remind ourselves of the game week 34 fixtures, Palace, I would like ownership, and Eze would be that man. Defensively, I think I'm well covered with the best defences in the league. Everton, I don't want to touch. So realistically, looking at it on paper, the only real consideration that I would have in my final transfer is a goalkeeper move. And that would be somebody like a Henderson in goal, which doesn't really excite me, but it could happen. So that's just a little bit of an idea on how my team is going to work between now and the end of the season. The real deliberation that I need to make is, do I bring in Mo Salah this game week or not? And do I value double Arsenal defence or not? Because in order to bring in Mo Salah this game week, I likely would have to sell Saliba. And I just don't really know if that is a move that I want to make, knowing how strong this Arsenal defence is going to have to be over the coming game weeks to really compete for this title. And again, it would mean me selling Son. But what I do like, and let me just quickly go back to it just because I'm conscious people maybe have similar teams. In game week 30, I think the only player I can realistically sell for Salah is Phil Foden. I think that's the only one I can realistically sell. Whereas come game week 31, as part of a free transfer strategy, and if I just reset the game week, I kind of have the pick of the bunch. I can sell Foden or I can sell Son. So I have a real nice choice of what exactly I want to do with my team. Whereas in this game week, it has to be Foden or nobody. So it just gives me another game week of information to know exactly where I want to go with my team. I'll just leave my team up on the screen a minute for you guys. I'm going to get back to some of the questions, so I'm conscious I have missed some. Do apologise. Okay, so just going to try and cover off some of these. Would you do Doughty to Gusto for a -4? Own Poro, Gabriel, Zabanya, I'm guessing, would have 10 doublers. Yes, I do like the move for a -4 long term, but Gusto not doubling in game week 34 isn't ideal, really. Do I take a -4 and bring in Son or Salah or Son without the hit? And who should I transfer out? So I'd prioritise Salah over Son even for a -4. I don't think Son is a desperate buy now. Should I captain Palmer despite the question marks around his fitness? Is there question marks? I haven't seen those. I may have missed that. Let me know in the chat. And also, guys, let me know in this poll. I'm just going to put it up now. Who is your game week 30 captain? I just want to get a bit of an idea. So I think Son's going to be very popular. I think Salah's going to be popular. I think Palmer's going to be popular. And I'll put another option, and just let me know in the chat who your other option is if you're going to go there. Yeah, just put that in the chat. Let me know who you'd go for. And again, if you haven't already, do check out the FPL Challenge League. Be awesome to see you guys in the invitation. I can see a few people are already in there, so that's awesome. Okay. My wildcard is Petrovic, Onana / Kelleher. Yeah, okay, I don't mind that. I prefer probably Kelleher for now because you're getting the double game week 34 investment. Oh no, you're free hitting in game week 34. Okay, so if you're free hitting in game week 34, then I think Onana long term is probably the route to go for. Gusto, Porro, Bradley, Aït-Nouri, Lascelles. Yep, I think that's really good coverage. Son, Salah, Palmer, Gordon, Garnacho. Yep. FPL MFZ. I think that's a fantastic team. I think you cover yourself off long term. Game week 34, you can invest in the triple Liverpool that you want. You can get the triple Palace and then come straight back off them. You can also have a bit of Everton if you want them in there. And also maybe a little sprinkling of Man United. What you've done well with your team, you've got Isak in for the long term as long as he stays fit. You've got Solanke in, who's a brilliant option over the short term. And you've got a really strong midfield that covers the game time. Yes, I really like the wildcard. I approve. Should I start Rosselev or Doughty? Looking at the fixtures to remind people, Luton have a really tricky game away against Spurs, whereas who's the other person? Rosselev is at home against Man United. I'd probably go Rosselev personally. I'm taking my first -4 of the season. Hopefully it does pay off. Who should I bench this game week? Bowen or Foden? I think it is incredibly close, but I'd bench Bowen. You sure about selling Son? No, Jack. As I said, not huge about selling Son. And that is why next game week, if I was to go down that route, it would give me a little bit of an alternative route what I want to do with my team. Lilix, is getting triple Spurs assets good for people free hitting in game week 34? Just concerned about Arsenal and Liverpool as opponents in game week 35/36. Yeah, so for those that don't know, let me just get this up. So, I've shown you the fixtures, but I've only shown you the fixtures of the guaranteed fixtures. This here is going to be the projected fixtures. Now, this is taken from FPL.team. Shout out to Peter, the legend. But he has, in collaboration, worked with Planet FPL to come up with some projected fixtures for the rest of the season. And you can see that on your screens here. So basically, game week 30 to 34 is official. These fixtures are locked in and the double game week in 34. However, Game week 35, 36, 37, 38 is not official. What we know is game week 38 will be a single game week. So it's where they sprinkle the rest of the fixtures. Now, the expectation, Chelsea will double in game week 36 and in 37, and so too will Spurs in 36 and in 37. So your question was asking, is getting triple Spurs assets good for people free hitting in game week 34? And I do think it is. The fixtures aren't great for Spurs, it's worth noting, like Liverpool away, Chelsea away, but I think Spurs are a good attacking outfit. So yes, I do think Spurs are good for the long term. My priority will probably be Son, followed by Pedro Porro, and then maybe like a Maddison, but maybe just going double up for now is the route to go for if you're a little bit concerned about those fixtures. If you still have your wild card, then when do you recommend using it other than game week 35? So you could use it now if you wanted to. I think game week 35 is the latest that I would use it, just because it really well preps you for the double that will get announced in 36 and in 37. Otherwise, what you could do potentially is use it in 33, get yourself prepared for 34, 36, 37 as well. Sammy, De Bruyne's sell for this week, have Foden, Bowen, Guy. I think he probably is, yes. He's still a brilliant option, but I just don't think he's absolutely essential right now. Should I play Saka or Garnacho? I think I would lean towards Saka personally. Eddie, hi Nacho, got one free transfer, 1.8 million in the bank. Who to get in your team? Okay. So you have Areola, Gabriel, Trippier, Zabanye. I don't think we have had announcement on Trippier, but I may be wrong on that one. Saka, Son, Garnacho, Palmer, Haaland. That's great. Watkins, Solanke, substitutes. Yes, you got Phone on the bench. So you got a really solid team. I think your question is, if you want to, I don't even think you could bring in Mo Salah, can you? I think what you could do is you could downgrade Trippier to a 8 Nori, and then if you have the funds available, upgrade a Phil Foden to a Mo Salah. If you're not considering that, I probably would just look to roll your transfer and give yourself some flexibility for the following game week. Sam Kerr, what do you think we are looking at in terms of EO for Son and Salah? Okay, so looking at the ownership of the players right now, Son is currently owned at... Sorry, my screen has been changed. I do apologise. So, as you can see here... So, Son's ownership currently is, crazily, only 34%. That seems mad. But of course, with captaincy on top, I think he will be closer to... I don't know what his ownership's going to be. I think it'll be, his effective EO could be around 60, 70, 70-ish maybe. I think a lot of people buy him and it'll go up to about that. Salah's, I think it could be 50, maybe 50, 40. What do people think? I may be completely picking out numbers there out of the blue. We're not talking Haaland numbers just because the actual ownership is not big enough to get anywhere near that. And in terms of buying right now, you can see Salah, Palmer, Muniz, Son. Salah's the big boy right now getting bought. He's currently at 27% ownership. I think I'll probably be 30 by the deadline. And I think probably whoever owns him probably just captain him. So I can see as being sub 50. But yeah, just to remind you guys, this is how I'm currently looking. And if there is any concern about Gabriel, then of course Saliba was substituting. Just need to really decide whether I want to bring in Mo Salah or not. And I'm currently leaning towards not bringing him in. So if anyone's having a little bit of a deliberation about what to do with Salah, had this in my previous one. Sam saying in the region 90% for Salah and 120 for Salah. Yeah, of course. So at different ranks. Yeah, sorry. I forgot to think about that. Yeah, so I agree on that one. In terms of live FPL, that's a good point. Live FPL. God, 16 points is savage. I don't know if I can get up the ownership of him going into a game week. I'll have to check that out. I do apologise. For those wondering about this was taken from my video today. just a bit of an idea about the Salah rotation risk a little bit, because looking at the fixtures, they're great. Brighton, Sheffield United, then Man United. But look at the times. Sunday, Thursday, Sunday. Not ideal. So is there a little bit of a concern that maybe if you don't buy Mo Salah this week, is he even definitely going to play significant game time against Sheffield United? And with it being a Thursday game and a Tuesday deadline, we're going to get no information between now and then. So we're all going to buy Mo Salah blindly on Tuesday, hoping for the best that he plays, when maybe those that brought him in for the Brighton game are going to be getting the real benefits from him. So that's my one concern about not getting Mo Salah this week. I think he plays full game against Brighton where you get the full benefit. And maybe we just get a situation where Mo Salah's benched against Sheffield United for the Man United game. I'm not saying that is going to happen, but it isn't out the realms of possibility at all. And that is my major concern. Maybe this is the game week we get the benefit from Mo Salah, not in game week 31. Am I going to do a deadline stream tomorrow? I don't think I will be around. I'm out with my friend doing a suit fitting. So if I'm back in time, I definitely will, but it will only be on TikTok just because it is so much easier to quickly get that up and running. YouTube requires a little bit more setup time, and I don't think I will have that in the morning, but I will be on TikTok if I can. Freddie, would you do KDB to Salah and Dalot to Baldock? Dalot to Baldock to afford it? I can still feel the back three of Gabriel. I think you are just really kind of like sacrificing a good player in Dalot for someone like Baldock, who might have a double in game week 34, but there's no world where Sheffield United keep a clean sheet. And I think it's going to detriment your team a little bit in the future. Lelex, I managed to bring in Salah on a free transfer, but don't think I would have taken a hit for him. Brighton might not be the hammer we expected to be. Yeah, somebody mentioned about the underlying numbers for Brighton recently, and I didn't actually notice this. So just getting up the defensive numbers for them. Give me 2 seconds. So, yeah, let's get this up for you guys. So this is a bit of a mess right now, as you can see. A lot to digest, but these are the defensive underlying numbers for teams. It's carnage. I do apologise. Just trying to make it a little bit more user-friendly. So, basically, we are looking at this column here, the expected goals conceded column, which is basically the one I'm highlighted in there. Luton is by far and away the worst. 2.28 expected goals conceded per 90 minutes. Brighton, though, on the other hand, only 1.5. The only teams who are better than them this season include Forest, Liverpool, City and Arsenal. But I like to look away from home because we want to actually look at the fixture at hand. So they are away. In terms of away, Brighton are still decent. 1.68 expected goals conceded. They are only worse to Spurs, Villa, Liverpool, Brentford, City and Arsenal. Now, when we flip it and we do look at goal scoring, because I know a lot of people say, yeah, Brighton's defence is good, but we also need to consider it's a very good Liverpool attack. If we are looking at the actual goal threat for Liverpool and we look at home, into the home, Liverpool currently averaging 2.94 expected goals per 90 minutes. So I know the narrative right now is that Brighton are good defensively over the last few weeks, etc., etc. But teams that they played, very few are this kind of level. Just to put it in perspective, the closest, second best, is Newcastle at 2.57. I mean, Man City are only 1.91. So Liverpool are by far and away the best attack in terms of underlying numbers. So if there is a team that are going to destroy Brighton, it is going to be Liverpool. So I get it. Brighton are better defensively than we think. But we need to remember this is an elite Liverpool attack. Jack, I don't have Salah, Palmer or Darwin. What's your opinion? But Darwin, what's your opinion on taking a -12? Bearing in mind the players I'm getting rid of are the likes of Morris, Neto, Kirkes, Doughty. At least it's where we better prepare for game week 34. Okay, so are you in wildcard territory, Jack? That's what I would ask you. I'd never like recommending it to people, but it sounds like your team maybe has been in a position where you've Starting to dead end it a little bit. Let me know your thoughts, but you could be in wildcard territory if you're starting to take -12s for players, and maybe that's a consideration. How about Ake to Bradley? Ake to Bradley, for whoever that is a good move. I think Ake is solid, but we just never know about his minutes. No double game week. My only concern for Bradley is this: you don't have any guarantees that he will play in the double game week 34 with the return of Trent, and even Joe Gomez can play at right back. So just be a little bit considerate of that. Jack, I want to wildcard in game week 34. Okay, so if you want a wildcard in game week 34, look, I mean, I don't know if you need to take the -12. Like, it feels like you're going all in. Look, if you know you want all three of those players for the next 4 game weeks, 30, 31, 32, 30, actually, yeah, because you're wildcarding game week 34, so you want to do 30, 4 game weeks. -12, I don't see you getting any value this game week, but for the next 4 game weeks, I think you probably could. So I really don't love it, mate, but you are bringing in 3 very good assets. So yes, I do like it. However, I'm assuming do you mean wildcarding game week 35? Just let me know that, because if you're wildcarding in game week 34, then the transfers you're bringing in, you're not even getting huge benefits because you're wildcarding in a double game week. So I think you probably mean you're wildcarding in game week 35. Jack probably better to wildcard now and get a good team now and get some play. Yeah, so that's my current thought process just based on what I'm reading of your team. And just a reminder of my team, because I'm going to have to wrap this up in a minute. I do apologise, guys. We will do a quick 2-minute Q&A. So if you haven't put your questions in, please do it. And I'll try and answer them over the next couple of minutes before we wrap it up. So yeah, 2 minutes, guys. If you have any questions, please do fire them off in the comment section. I'll try and answer them. And if you haven't already, please let me know who your captain is in the poll in the chat. Currently, 48% are going for Son, 32% are going for Salah, 11% are going for Palmer, 9% are going for other options, which is quite interesting. Jack, if I wildcard now, who is essential for double game week 34? Well, if we're looking at the... firstly, mate, I'm not saying you should definitely... Like, I really am not in a position where I want to sit here and say to you, you have to wildcard now, because it's totally team dependent. Wildcard's a big thing, so if you don't agree with it, then please don't do it, because I'm not really going to, in 2 minutes, be able to really understand whether it is right for your team. It's just worth having a little bit of a thought about it. So if you were to wildcard now, realistically, your priority is going to be triple Arsenal. I think you're going to get yourself Mo Salah. You're going to get yourself the likes of Kelleher in goal if you want to. Do you have your free hit available? Let me know if you have a free hit. But I haven't actually been playing around too much for wildcard in game week 30, but I do think that, you know, there are good, viable teams out there. Freddie, following on to my last question, would you roll the transfer and then get Salah in for KDB and Bradley or Braithwaite in for Porro? Follow on for my last question. Yeah, so do I think Salah is better this game week? Yes. And Freddie, your original question was, would you do KDB to Salah and Dallo to Baldock? How much is Baldock? Can you not afford 3.9? Let me know quickly. Can you afford a 3.9 million defender? Isak or Darwin over the next few weeks for game week 30 to 33. I kind of like Isak, I can't lie, just because of the guaranteed game time, as long as he is staying fit. Jack, I'll probably end up taking a -4 and forget about Palmer and Darwin. No, I don't have a free hit, and get to them maybe next week. Okay, yeah, so I think that's fine. Like I said, though, I think a wildcard is definitely viable for your team. 3.8, Freddie, yeah, that's killer. 3.9, you could have brought in Lascelles. Okay. We'll draw the transfer and then get... So realistically, in a day, if you want to strike now, I think you get in Salah this week, you just do it. And Bradley or Braithwaite in for Porro. Okay, yeah, so Freddie, I think, like I said about Salah, I think if you really want to strike in to get it done, I think Salah is a good option this week. KDB, we just don't really know about his game time this week. I know he's been injured over the international break. I think it's probably a fake injury. So I probably would suggest probably just getting it done, actually, and just having him in for this week, knowing that you have him over the next few weeks. That's probably my thought process on that. Bulldog isn't great. That's my only concern for your team and the squad depth over the few game weeks. Right, I think we're going to wrap it up there, guys. I was going to do about a 45-minute stream, kind of around those lines. So we're going to wrap it up there. Thanks so much for tuning in. As always, if you're not already, make sure you do like and drop a subscription on the channel. And there won't be a deadline live stream tomorrow, but there might be one on TikTok. So do stick around for that one. Have a good evening, guys, and I'll see you very soon. Take care. Cheers.